Well, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for all the subscribers following along. Thank you for the likes and shares and the comments. And I really like the comments, so please do let me know what you think. And it's great to get some good encouragement from you, so thank you very much. And as you know, this is not a fake video or a fake restoration. There's not a load of production people behind the scenes doing something. This is a real restoration and retro mod of a Lancia Montecarlo, and you can follow along and see how it goes, see what issues come up, see how well it turns out, and yeah, please do comment, let me know what you think. So in today's video I'm going to talk about the single biggest issue that this car had when I bought it. And yes, I knew it had that problem before I bought it, but that's what made the car a bargain to buy. A bargain in my eyes, because I like retro modding and modified cars, but if you wanted to go to have a standard car, then this was never going to be the car for you. So the biggest issue that this car had was that it had been converted to a rally car. Yeah, I know that sounds obvious, but when they do that, a lot of the originality of the car is altered, and it's quite difficult to change it back. They change the engine, gearbox, brakes, suspension, but also critically they change the body and the body shell. So the body shell strengthened, but it also has changes to the wheel arches to fit wider wheels and tyres and to allow more suspension travel, and they fit extended wheel arches on it. And in order to get that bigger, larger suspension travel, or more suspension travel and wider wheels, they cut back the wheel arches, literally cut them off. They cut the standard car wheel arches off and they fit larger ones, and they alter at the back. They create a different sized sort of tub for the wheel to travel in, and literally the old wheel arches are cut off and usually just thrown away. Rally cars need those wider wheels and tyres for extra grip and stability, and they need that extra suspension travel because they're usually going over rough ground, and they want a large amount of travel for the suspension in order to absorb those sort of bumps, and they're travelling at usually high speed. So it's a very common thing for rally cars for this to happen to them. You'll quite often see converted rally cars with bigger wheel arches, and even the cars that are purpose built by manufacturers like the Audi Quattro and Lancia Integrale, they came with wider wheel arches as well. So it's quite a common thing in rallying to make these changes. So you can, a lot of the time, expect that if you're going to buy an old rally car, you're going to expect that these sorts of changes will have been made to the car. So when buying the car, I looked at the options available, trying to go back to standard, and if I went back to standard, I'd have the restrictions of standard wheel arches, so I wouldn't be able to run wider track, bigger wheels and tyres. I'd be limited, or quite limited, to the confines of the original arches. So that comes with a trade-off if you want to go back to the standard wheel arches. And actually the conversion back to standard wheel arches is quite a involved process. You'd have to replace really the entire quarter to do it, and especially at the back, the inner wheel arch as well, to create the original standard tub. Very, very time consuming to do. A lot of work that would be very expensive if you're getting somebody to do that. The cost of that would probably just outweigh just buying a Montecarlo that had standard wheel arches. You just wouldn't do it. Also, availability of panels is very poor for these cars. There's nothing really available aftermarket. There's no metal panels. If you were getting panels, they might be from a car that's been partied out or scrapped. they're probably going to be in poor condition, so you're probably going to spend time repairing those before you even fit them to the car. Just really a nightmare. So it just becomes a non-option to try and get the car back to standard kind of OEM wheel arches. Just a non-starter. So the other option really would be fitting extended wheel arches. And I had a look on the internet, and I'll put some pictures up that shows some rally cars actually that have wider wheel arches that look like standard Montecarlo ones, but they're bigger and wider. I think they were possibly produced in something like the 80s or 90s, I think it's a Leicester body kit. They're no longer available. Nobody seems to be making those either, so there's no parts there to be able to purchase. So you're back to fabricating something. So where do you go after that? Well, the last option left is make your own wheel arches, really, for your own application. So if you're not going to use standard wheel arches because they're not available, you could try and fabricate something yourself. So that's an option, and that's actually what happened to this car. The previous owner, one of the previous owners, had tried to fabricate arches. Very difficult to do. I'll show you some of the results of what that looked like, and it really didn't really go very well. It was quite a mess, the car. So that's what was on the car when I bought it. That would all need removed and redone. So that's what made this car a bit of a bargain in terms of the price, because it needed so much work in terms of fixing the body shell and fixing the interior as well, because that gets disposed of. As you can see, there's not much of an interior there at the moment. So I thought this car looked pretty rough in the pictures before buying it, and I knew it had this issue of having had wheel arches sort of fabricated in some way, but I wasn't even prepared for how bad it was when I actually received the car. The wheel arches that had been fabricated for it were really, really rough. They looked bad in the pictures, but actually when I got up to the car and I could see how rough it was, I could see it was just completely full of filler. And when I started having a look kind of underneath, there was a lot of rust and rust bubbling through actually from underneath the filler. You can see here, this is one of the arches that was fabricated. You can see it's kind of rusting. It's still got all the original rivets in it from probably the rally wheel arches that were on it, and yeah, they had to be removed. There's no other way to try and restore this car in any other way. It was so rough that the previous owner had put these over the top of it to try and hide how rough it was, because it was just so bad, and he wanted to try and make it look a bit smarter probably. So these had been fitted, but the reality when receiving the car was it was just so badly done. There's no option to try and use any of that. It just had to be completely removed. So now I've built one of the final arches for the back. I've actually got two. I've got the front one and a rear one for this side, and I'm working on the other side. And as I'm going through working with fiberglass and these sort of composite materials, my skills of producing these are actually getting much better. This one's much better than the front one, the first one that I produced. So I'm pretty happy with this, how it's come out. It's very light, and you know, the finish on it is pretty accurate in terms of what I wanted. Still needs to be cut back before being basically glued onto the car, but yeah, very happy with that. So that's going to be the next stage, that these will be fitted after the suspension's back on. So yeah, keep following along. You're going to see these on the car with all the suspension back on the ground, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. But I'll keep doing updates as I go along. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please comment, let me know what you think.